All right. So just a little bit of an overview of what we're doing here. We decided in these times that it would be a good idea to let everybody know what their local businesses are doing in their communities, because some people are doing some absolutely amazing things, including Cotopaxi and New West Knifeworks. So we invited them to join us here today to talk a little bit about what they're doing and why they're doing it. So just a little bit about who's here. I'm going to let you ladies introduce yourselves. We have Annie and we have LB. So Annie, do you want to go first and tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Cotopaxi?
Yes, hello, my name is Annie Eagle. I'm the Director of Impact and Brand at Cotopaxi. I oversee all of our corporate social responsibility, our foundation, our supply chain compliance, and our procurement, and our giving structure. And I also help make sure that we are a brand that supports mission rather than a mission that supports brand. And so by overseeing our brand, I can make sure that our marketing and our storytelling is always in alignment with the ultimate good we want to have on society.
Wonderful. LB?
Hi, I'm Lauren Bennett. I go way more commonly by LB, and I'm newly appointed media manager for New West Knifeworks, working in marketing, communication, and e-commerce. But I had been appointed sort of on the fly as the executive director, so to speak, of our We Are Jackson Hole project, which was created by our founder, Corey Milligan, as a PR campaign around social distancing in Jackson community very early on in this pandemic, and then making hand sanitizer to give away for free in our local community.
Awesome. And I'm Kelly. I'm from Creative Energies. I am in charge of all things brand at Creative, and helped guide us through our B Corp certification, and just try to make sure that people recognize who we are for what we do in the community and for each other. So that being said, just a couple of quick housekeeping things. If you guys have any messages, you have the Q&A, you can type in on the side. I've got it up on my computer, and I can kind of answer those questions, or have the ladies answer these questions as we go along. Our contact information will all be at the end of the presentation. So if you have any other questions that you may want to ask, you can do that there. And if you want to comment any further, this will all be posted on YouTube as well, so you can share it out, rewatch it there. I'm going to apologize ahead of time, being that we're all working from home. So I have my dog in another room, but if you hear barking, I sincerely apologize. I just got a message that the shared screen is a blank white screen. Does anybody else have that problem?
Yeah, it's looking white on my side too, Kelly.
Okay, let me stop sharing and reshare the screen and see if that will work. Is it back?
Yes.
Okay, if that happens at any point, again, I'm sorry, this is a new platform for us. Just message me again and I'll try to reset it and get it going. So let's just kind of dive right in. We've got about, let's see, 20 minutes left total. So we're just going to talk about what we're doing and answer any questions that we have, and we'll answer questions along the way and then open it up at the end as well. So we're going to start with Cotopaxi. Annie, a couple of things that I know that Cotopaxi is doing in the immediate for the COVID-19 outbreak. I know that they're doing a mask for every Utahn, and then also the hashtag One Utah shirts. Could you tell us a little bit about each one of those programs?
Sure, yeah. I'd say, when the crisis hit, we really wanted to pivot our giving pretty immediately to support this immediate issue. And so we reached out to our suppliers around providing personal protection equipment. And just to clarify, we won't be the only supplier for the Every Utah initiative. We're providing 500,000 masks with the help of the state of Utah, but we obviously feel that every citizen has a right to protection, and we feel strongly that going forward there's going to be resurgences of this and that people should be prepared. And we're happy to do that. And we'll also be launching our own repurposed mask as well, which will be using, all of our masks are actually upcycled. One of the issues that came out of this, obviously there's been a ton of cancellation of orders across pretty much all apparel supply chains. And we were very concerned, one, about the livelihoods of our factory partners and our wonderful sewers. And we were also very concerned about fabric waste. It's a big issue for us internally in terms of our ethics. We just want to design whenever possible to eliminate waste. And so all of our masks will be using fabric waste from canceled orders to try to minimize the environmental impact associated with COVID. Obviously, there have been some wins for the environment during this time as well, but there's also been a lot of waste that will go unused as a result of canceled orders. So we're very excited about that initiative, and we'll also be launching a version 2 of the mask that'll be more consumer facing and fun and patchworky, more like Cotopaxi brand. And we'll also be launching a buy one, give one program with that. So for every mask that's purchased by a customer, we'll be donating a mask to the refugee community and to particularly hard hit demographics by the crisis. The one
That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks. It's been really amazing, and we couldn't do it without our wonderful suppliers and design team as well. And it was great that we were able to pivot quickly on that and work with the state on that. Our other initiative, we wanted to do something locally as well. And so we partnered with a variety of Silicon Slopes companies to launch the One Utah t-shirt, which is a fair trade certified t-shirt that whose proceeds go entirely towards local community organizations, helping everyday Utahns struggling to stay afloat during this time, kind of weather this storm financially. So that's been another great outcome. And then we also did a few donation launches and campaigns that allowed our customers to kind of join in on our corporate giving. And so we did a match for the first 1,000 customer donations to the International Rescue Committee's Crisis Response Fund, which is helping global refugee communities around the world respond to COVID. And we received those 1,000 customer donations in 10 days. And to date, we've been able to raise and donate around $220,000, which has been pretty awesome. And I know I've mostly just been incredibly moved by the customer interaction we've seen around these campaigns. I know everyone's feeling pretty financially strapped, and the fact that they are still finding within themselves to donate to these causes just means the world to me. We have like,
yeah, that's amazing. I know I got my 2 One Utah shirts. I'm excited to get those in the mail as well. yeah, I'm really excited about that. And just so everybody on this knows, when we post this up on YouTube, we'll put links to all of those programs in there if you'd like to go in and support or just see more of what they're about as well. So that'll be there too. So what about your regular give back programs? What do you guys do when we're not in crisis with a virus running around the world?
So we launched our foundation last year. That was really important to me for a variety of reasons. More than anything else, we really wanted to democratize our giving. It's been kind of ingrained in the Cotopaxi mission that we were providing a mission first and a product to support that mission. And I just felt like we could be providing impact as a service a little bit more directly to our customers. So the foundation for all perpetuity will be giving 1% of revenue towards grants. So we have multi-year grant agreements with a variety of nonprofit organizations. We have 4 larger partners, all of whom contribute to alleviating poverty through programming around health, education, and livelihoods. And so the first thing I did during this crisis was reach out to our ongoing grant partners and just say, hey, we understand that this is going to kind of bring other planned programming to a halt. Please know that you can use our funds to respond to COVID. And so we've received some really amazing outcomes just by having a more flexible approach to our donation structure. And we've continued and will always continue, even in crisis, to make good on allocating a substantial portion of our revenue, which, amounts to historically about 100% of our profits to charity. And so during this time, we've continued to do that, and we've seen just some amazing returns, which we can't take credit for, but are very much a testament to the amazing work of our partners. And so one partner, Mercy Corps, they are on the ground in Venezuela. We've been very involved with the Venezuelan human crisis. It's the largest refugee crisis, larger than Syria, largest human migration issue for the past 50 years. And there's just no one on the ground in Venezuela right now. And so our corporate grant has gone entirely to COVID response in Caracas and outlying regions. And so far, our amazing on the ground team there with Mercy Corps has been able to provide 8,000 medical consultations. Just a lot of amazing work there. Has been one of the primary suppliers of PPE for healthcare assistance there. And same with the IRC, they've just done an amazing job.
It's mind-blowing how much good you guys can do. I mean, it's amazing to me that more companies don't do this kind of stuff. I know that New West Knifeworks is doing some amazing things too. When I heard about, the Jackson project and, getting the hand sanitizer together and working with the distillery to do so is just, I just think it's so cool. And Jackson is just one of those places that it didn't surprise me it was happening there. So LB, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing there and how you're doing it?
Yeah, so, really it's interesting that you say you're not surprised that it happened in Jackson. The peer pressure around, positive peer pressure around community giving and community support in the Jackson community and the Teton Valley community here in Idaho is amazing. It's completely unprecedented from anywhere else that I've ever lived, where all the companies that are based here and doing work in this area, they're all involved in some sort of nonprofit giving, and it's just absolutely incredible and totally contagious in the best way of people just jumping in and supporting each other in whatever they can do. The story, at New West Knifeworks with We Are Jackson Hole really came from Corey Milligan, who's the founder that you see there in the green vest in the front of that photo. He went to Italy on vacation right before it really hit the fan in Italy. As we kind of remember back to 2 months ago, which feels like 7 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it does.
Italy was really kind of that hot spot after China, and Corey was there right before it happened. So he was very tuned into this, and he said he sort of felt like he was on the Titanic and he saw the iceberg coming as far as what this was going to look like in the US and in our local community. And at the time that he came back and was speaking to people about this here, people were really taking it for granted that it was actually going to impact here and, and in Jackson, and to get to this level where it was actually impacting our community. So he felt like he was, seeing 3 weeks into the future because of that trip to Italy, and just decided, what can he tangibly do to make an impact, but then also really on the forefront, how can he keep our employees working, and how can he continue to make sure that we're all supported and that there's work for everyone you see in that picture there in our factory in Victor. And that was really the impetus for the hand sanitizer, was helping his local community as well as all of us, looking out for his employees and making sure that we can do some good. And that's kind of where it all started, was being at the front of that. So the project was not only making hand sanitizer in our local community, but a really focused PR campaign in our local community about, hey, this is coming and it's happening, and here are the things that you can do to make sure to help flatten the curve. And really at that time, he was the first one kind of out in front of that message here in the Jackson area. And so that rallied the local health department and other local businesses to really take this thing seriously. And getting the hand sanitizer project going. And, original idea was that he was going to literally turn the knife factory into a hand sanitizer factory. But, the distilleries got all the equipment set up for that, and that just helped the thing roll much quicker. And I think the thing that people don't really realize is just how fast companies had to mobilize in order to do things to be on the front of this, because you've seen people making hand sanitizer at distilleries across the country, which is absolutely amazing. But you had to really have things moving at the speed of light to get this stuff going, because as Annie mentioned, the supply chains were impacted on getting things from anywhere. And that's really where the partnership with the distillery came from. Is we realized as a company the only way to get hand sanitizer to our community and in our community was to make it in our community, because you couldn't reliably ship anything in. And that's kind of where it all came from, is banding together of what can we make and get tomorrow. And that's sort of how it all happened. And you see in that photo, that was one of our free hand sanitizer distribution points, where as soon as we made it, we just started giving it away just as fast as we possibly could. And then local donations really supported continuing to make it. So we picked up another batch just as recently as last week from the distillery, and working to make it until you can buy it here is really sort of what's been going on.
That's amazing. I know you guys also have some other things that you do, again, when we're not under crisis, for your local communities around there. What are some of those things?
Yeah, they're, really New West Knifeworks has supported just a ton of local organizations in Jackson and in Idaho, and as well in Park City, where we have a retail location, and Napa Valley, a retail location there as well. And really for New West, it's all about forming partnerships and using that as opportunity for us to know what's going on in our local communities and how we can help. So we've supported a number of different organizations with product donations and cash donations. And one of the favorite partners is Slow Food in the Tetons over in Jackson, which is really focusing on, a lot of similar things that Annie talked about with fabric waste. They're focused on food waste and how we can, as a culture, just change our habits to source things locally and just be more responsible in what we're using and consuming. And they're really on the front in Jackson of farmers markets and cooking at home and those type of things. And obviously, we're all about people cooking at home and doing it with really sharp knives.
Yeah, that's great. So I also wanted to ask you guys, or you ladies, what does it mean for you guys to give back? I mean, why give back to the communities and use your business for a force for good? I mean, I know creative has its reasons, and it was just kind of ingrained since day one. But is this something that has always been for you guys from the start, or is it something that kind of happened along the way, or?
I can answer for Cotopaxi. I would say that I joined Cotopaxi 2.5 years ago, but Davis's model for Cotopaxi, he's our CEO and co-founder, has always been around giving back sustainably. And so we were the first benefit corporation, not to be confused with B Corp, very confusing, but we were the first benefit corporation to actually receive top 500 venture capital funding, which is really astonishing. And I think that at Cotopaxi, it is treated as a moral imperative for us to give back as a business. And I'd say my attitude as an impact officer, but also as a pragmatist, I'd say, you know, even 5 years ago, there was a mentality in capitalism around like, well, we can't really afford to do that. And I think, especially after COVID, you can't afford not to do this as a company. Raw materials are being drawn down at historically high levels. Customers have access to better information, are demanding procurement issues. They're very savvy in terms of sourcing and sustainability, and they care about companies giving back. That is the new expectation. And I think at Cotopaxi, we're extremely grateful to see that. I think our customers are certainly part of our company. They validate our model of giving every single day. And so we certainly feel strongly at Cotopaxi that this is how every business should be operating, and that every business should be a B Corp.
Awesome. What about you guys, LB? Has it been something that was ingrained from the beginning, or did it happen along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I had mentioned, the culture in Jackson is so completely focused on giving and giving back to the local communities that it's sort of just, that's just what you do. And it's such a positive peer pressure situation. Like I said, that's just what you do. And Jackson Hole is one of, you know, I think actually recently was listed as one of the most income disparity towns in the country, because you see all these second homeowners and things like that. So it's important for our company to support the people that live here and the people that have chosen to make their home here and the people that work here, you know, because you have this company in a place that you want to live, and we all want to be here for a reason. And it's just important to look out for that and make this a great place to live.
Awesome. So I have a question here from Jonathan, who asks, what advice do you have for companies for community give back that's not ingrained into the culture yet?
I think for us, it's about sharing those stories of the positive impact that you have. So whatever, you know, bit that you're doing, and sharing that with your employees and with your followers, that everyone sees how great that is. It becomes that contagious cycle of that was awesome, let's do that again, and sort of just get the ball rolling. And that's, to me, how you ingrain it, is by doing it and really sharing those positive impacts.
Yeah. LB, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, it's an amazing question, and I would never be intimidated to just start somewhere. And I think the first place to start is within your model or your product. Think about what aspect of your business you maybe haven't leveraged before. And so, you know, I think that's really amazing that US Knifeworks was able to kind of tap into their ability to make hand sanitizer. What would be a quick win that is playing to your existing model that would allow for that? So for us, it was, you know, how can we use scraps to build a competitive product that's on the market, while also designing to eliminate waste and tying profits to giving back. And maybe you just start with one product and say, for this product, we're going to be donating proceeds to a nonprofit of choice. And go on Charity Navigator. I always suggest to any person looking to impact, you can vet any nonprofit organization of worth through charitynavigator.com. And that way you can at least know that the nonprofits you're looking at have kind of done their due diligence. And that's an easy way. But I would say, don't be intimidated to just start somewhere.
Yeah, and I agree with both of those things. I just want to throw in too that, you know, for creative, when we started to look at how we can give back, I think one of the important things is to look to who you are and your culture and your people and what is important to you. So whatever that looks like, for us, obviously solar, but, looking at why we chose to do solar in the first place, why the founders went there. And it was really, to get power to people who didn't have it or who otherwise wouldn't have it. So, really, I think looking at your values and your morals and why you started what you're doing, and really kind of go from there. I have another question here from Kathy that asks, are your three companies working in partnership on anything right now? And it's funny you should ask that, Kathy, because right before we started this, we started talking about that. So, during these times, it's really hard to try to partner together. So I think this was hopefully the first venture into starting some things together, and seeing what we can do to have a larger impact on our communities. Ladies, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
Well, I'll say that, a plug to Creative Energies actually did donate to the We Are Jackson Hole project. His Creative has their office. I think you saw it actually in that first photo. Creative has an office in our building, and Victor and so Bruce had supported our project, making the hand sanitizer. So we collaborate on some office space, but let's definitely see what else we can do.
We haven't had the opportunity to work with these two awesome companies, but we have partnered with other B Corps during this time. So we did a really awesome impact campaign with Bombas, the B Corp sock company in New York City. We teamed up to provide 500 emergency kits for homeless community members in New York City. They've been particularly hard hit, and the two largest homeless shelters in New York were epidemic hotspots. So we felt very strongly that we should be active in that area because it has been harder hit generally than our areas of operation domestically. And we've continued to kind of talk ongoing with other B Corps. And I definitely think that taking a more collaborative than competitive approach, especially right now, is crucial and part of good ethics. And B Corp, working with other B Corps is just kind of ingrained within Cotopaxi in terms of our decision making and collaborations.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a little bit over our half an hour here. So if anybody doesn't have any other questions right now, like I said, I'll put this up on YouTube and we can keep the conversation going there if anybody else has any other questions. Just a reminder, I loved this image, so I had to throw it in here. Social distancing, keep one llama space between you and others. But thank you all so much for coming and for, listening to us today. If you guys have any questions, or have any follow-ups, here's our information. Like I said, this will all be online as well on YouTube. So thank you all so much for coming, and be safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.